Welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This is the show to encourage you to live your life to the fullest and do fun work that fuels your lifestyle. Hi, I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. Every week, you'll be introduced to amazing guests, useful resources, and inspirational stories. You'll discover opportunities and perspectives to shape your version of living full and working fun. Well, hi there and welcome. This is the show where we explore topics that help you create your lifestyle to live full and work fun. I'm Gayla Scrivener, joined here with my co-host, Fran Groesbeck. Hi, Fran.
Hey, Gayla.
Well, the building trust is such an important piece of building a lifestyle to live full and work fun. And the definition of trust is the firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. And building trust, you and I have talked about it a lot, translates all about how we can keep our promises. And today is our fourth and final episode of our Trust Builder series. And over the past 3 weeks, we've already went over building trust between important areas of our life. The first one, we talked about building trust with ourselves. That's first and foremost. And once we do that, it spreads out to our team and then to our customers and clients. Well, today in our fourth and final episode on our trust building, in our trust building series, we're going to focus our conversation on building trust with our prospects or our followers. Those people who look to us to guide them in some way, solving a problem and filling a need that they have. So, Fran, with all of that, why does trust play an important role in our business when it comes to prospects?
They don't know us, right? So we're just meeting them. We're just getting to know them. It's like a reciprocal effect, right? We're trying to tell them we can help them build trust with their target audience. In order to do that, we need to show them trust. It's how can we do it for them if we can't build it with them? It's like our way to show them that we can help them in exactly what we're about to tell them we can do for them. Trust is the foundation of all relationships. Name any relationship, and trust is the foundation of it. It's how you begin to work together. And I think with prospects, we're reaching out to people who are in some state of, and whether you're offering a service or a product, there's something that's causing them some sense of worry. Their AC just broke, or their AC's on the fritz, or their business is struggling and they're not sure where to start. So there's some level of fear or worry happening, maybe not the state of panic yet, although some could be. And trust is one way for them to feel safe that you're the right person to help them. You're not going to take advantage of them. Trust sends a lot of messages without sending the actual words. Everybody is looking for a partner, someone who gets their story, gets what they're trying to do, and isn't going to just sell them something, whether it be a service or a product. So trust really is key to making that first connection with the prospect.
Totally agree. And I'd like to extend on that businesses exist to solve a problem, whether it's a service or a product, it fills a need. And sometimes, you wonder, even with, this is an example, like people that are very artistic and they create art and that's what they do for a living. It's still filling a need. It's still filling this hole or filling a problem that someone has, that perhaps someone needs to or wants to bring joy around them. And this piece of artwork fills that need. So I believe that everything, whether it's the practical or the luxury, it fills a need that we all have. And it goes with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's the basic needs, where are you at in that hierarchy? And all products and all services fill a need. And then the business, when we're looking to solve that problem or fill that need, we're looking to people that we trust have the experience or have the quality that will fill that need. That's and you're right. There's this gap, right? If you picture two mountains and you're trying to, go jump over the gap between the mountains, and it's called the trust gap. You have to fill that trust gap to bridge from, hey, I don't know you, and I fear that you don't really have the experience or the know-how, but all of this stuff that we as business owners do to bridge that gap to help them ease their fears of actually doing business with us. Now that, why trust is important is building that trust, filling that trust gap with a bridge. That's why it's important. So let's talk about identifying our right customers or clients that we can fill that need, because we can't help everyone. And so through our marketing or through our communication, we can serve our clients and customers and fill a particular need. And not everybody, I mean, I hate it when I go to networking meetings and somebody that sells makeup says, my ideal customer is everybody with skin. And it's like, excuse me, that's not really it. Sure, everybody with skin could use skincare, but that's not the psyche of the person that you're working with. So let's talk about identifying prospects.
This was a big one for me. It
Yeah,
took me 5 years to find mine. And
but you see, I don't think we know what at first.
no, you really don't. And we did one of our first podcasts together was on the willingness warrior. It's what I refer to my client, right? So my client, and one of the things we talked about, I think it was even, we did another podcast on one of the things about strategy, I think, and talk about paint that picture of that person. If whether it's in your mind or on a piece of paper, start doodling out. It's a woman, it's a man, it's young, it's old, it's whatever that, and I'm saying it's because there's so many things the customer could be. I realized for me, mine were business owners who wanted a different way. But before, without getting into the details of who mine is, it took me 5 years. Willingness warriors, what I call them, what we call them internally. There's a willingness. I need a person who's willing to also partner with me. I am not a cookie cutter agency. I don't just take one formula and slap it on every company. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with any system of business, especially if it works. But for me, I want the personal touch approach. That's why there's touch in my name. But it took me 5 years to really figure out who that was. And some of it ties to breaking the mindset of who I thought I was supposed to be working with. And then, but since I found the willingness warriors, everything I write, everything I do, every proposal has changed for me. Seeing that person, and I'm sure they'll evolve again. I'm sure they'll keep evolving. The one mistake that skincare person, when you try to be something to everyone, you don't become anything to the person you need to talk to.
I love that. Say that again.
When you're busy trying to be anything to everyone, you don't become something to the person that needs you, because they're getting lost in you trying to make sure that you're covering everybody. It's okay to focus. And that was one of the things that I realized. Willingness warriors can end up being one of the smallest groups ever of, prospects. I don't care. Those are my people. I want to connect with people that resonate with my message and how I do things.
Well, when I was starting out, and I still hear it, but when you're in the startup phases, always you hear, hey, you need to create your ideal avatar. And I have over time just grown to hate the word avatar, because to me it's so impersonal. But that's where you start, because when you first are launching your business and you're really unsure of who you can serve, and you're taking on projects, because this is, even though when you start out a business, you're supposed to niche down, you're supposed to have your perfect avatar, you're supposed to have everything just so. Startups are kind of sloppy. I mean, honestly, that's the reality of it. It's like, hey, I am going to make this work and I'm going to take on things and I'm going to try things out. My philosophy is life is an adventure. You just need to try it out and go with it. And over time, through experience, it gets easier and you can do some reflecting on, yep, this worked, this didn't. These are the people I like to work with. These are the people I struggle working with, and you become more narrowed down. But starting with an avatar on those characteristics, the hollow characteristics, I like to say, you have the demographic, male, female, maybe how much household income, do they are they parents, are they, you know, business owners, things like that. That's kind of the shallow part of the avatar, and that's what I think of. And I know that's not it, and that's not what people teach on that, but for me, that's how it is. I see this cartoon character that's not really a full person. But then over time, as I got to know myself as a business owner and got to know the clients who I wanted to serve, that picture got deeper because it went onto an emotional level. And that's where, in all of my story branding training for writing a brand narrative, I love that avatar is not said anywhere. What we do is we find the hero of the story, which is the customer, the client, that hero. And that hero is somebody that's has a problem, and there's internal and external feelings. And we don't talk about male or female or, they drive a certain car, they make a certain amount of income. There is a certain amount of that, but the feelings come up. So I really like diving in and finding that character, finding that hero. Who is that hero? And then putting maybe even a name and a face to it, to that character, that hero. Because once you do that, it makes all communication easier. You're like talking to that one person. And when you talk to one, you talk to many, because there are many heroes out there trying to have that transformation that we as business owners can have, no matter whatever in our mind, whether it's a, a little problem in the grand scheme of things or a big problem in the grand scheme of things. We're solving a problem, and that person can do that. So I think it's important that we talk about identifying our prospects like this, because if we don't identify our prospects, and quite frankly, Fran, over time, as I have matured in my business, my ideal client is basically me 5 years ago.
That's an excellent point. We can become our own, outline of who we want to reach. Something you just said really struck home with me. When you focus on your hero, your audience, you end up reaching more people because the ripple effect. When you focus on the right people, the right space, your people, this means that trust can really be built. You're comfortable. You're not trying to be something you're not. Trust starts to be built. Those people talk. Those people share. Those people mention it to their friends, to other businesses. They pass it on. It's its own ripple effect. When you be your authentic self and reach the audience you're meant to reach, it will have its own domino effect. It will have its own ripple effect. So that's really powerful. I also want to second your mention of not liking the word avatar. I feel like it turns the person, in whatever vein you want to use the word avatar, into a digital, like it's cold. It feels
Right.
not, we're all about being connected.
That's why I really like the story brand framework, and those people that we serve are heroes. And that is the language all throughout story brand. And we as the business owner are the guides to make the heroes And I love on their podcast, the Marketing Made Simple podcast, they always refer to all guides as hero makers. So hero seems to me much more meaningful. There's more. It's not cold and digital. It's a hero is somebody that I want to really get to know. So I wanted to touch on identifying our prospects and really nailing down that. And you said earlier that it took you 5 years to find your willingness warrior hero to work with, but that is going to evolve. We evolve as people, so our heroes will evolve as people as well. But when you know how to talk to that one hero, it is the ripple effect because you can resonate with many. Because your heroes, we tend, what is that little phrase? Birds of a feather flock together. Yes, when we have similar interests, similar journeys, we seem to flock together. And so people will talk. But how would people talk about us in their circles and trust us to help them solve any particular problem they have or fill a need? What are some ways that we can build trust?
The first thing we need to remember is don't speak to a prospect and force down their throat what we do. Tell them what we can do for them. This is about how can we help them? What's in it for them, right? That's an old saying, but this is more about, it's like the features and benefits in products. So your services and products, a lot of people love to tell the features of a product, but what does that mean? What does that mean to the person if it's taller, thinner, sharper? What does that translate to? Is it more time? Will it last longer? So same kind of thing when you're talking to a prospect, make sure they understand what's in it for them and share your experience. This goes to my belief about it's all personal, and share what you know. And, Gayla, you're the one who taught me the name authority piece. We had a different name for it, but I love authority piece because that can be any way to show them how you know what you know. And in that, connect with them. This is where you find, is this the right fit? This is an important thing. When you, as the business owner, are talking to a prospect, remember, they're not just interviewing you, you're interviewing them.
Yes.
So it's important, but that building trust is keeping the promises. When you make appointments, promise them a follow-up. You've had the consultation, you promise them a proposal, making sure they understand, giving them a safe space to feel like they can relax from those fears and they have someone who gets them, gets the problems they're facing, and is truly interested and invested in solving those problems.
And the practical way is you talked about the authority piece. Yes, figuring out what that authority piece is, what package it could go in. We've talked a lot about, it can be blog, a video series, podcasting, 3 great ways of presenting authority. And then you can repurpose that content, repurpose that. I mean, that's what we're all about. And that's probably that is a podcast all of its own, is how do you repurpose? But showing up consistently, picking that authority piece and breaking things down, because everything that you're an expert in, you can't possibly say in one blog post or one podcast or one video. There are so many aspects, and you can help people that way. So you're casting the net, you're speaking to others. And actually, I'm going to go back into identifying prospects just ever so slightly. For some of these topics that you're going to talk about, you're scratching your own itch, right? There's something that interests you or that you had overcome and you are going to share so that somebody else's path is a lot easier. And that is your authority piece. And the authority piece needs to be published on a consistent basis. But then again, within our marketing and our communication out to prospects, you hear a lot of things about nurture email series. You hear a lot of things about sales funnels. Sales funnels is a way of building trust. So think about it. You have, well, that's a digital way, and there's some manual ways within the sales funnel. Everybody's funnel is a little bit different, but when you talk about sales funnels, it is primarily talking about digital communication to get from somebody that's in the discovery phase all the way to the buying phase. That's bridging that trust gap. So if somebody downloads or comes to you with the sales funnel starts with a lead magnet, right? What is it that a piece of information in exchange for your email that you're going to help somebody get a little bit further on their journey? They download it. Well, there should be a series of emails that go with that, and not just here it is and go. People expect it's like, okay, I'm not ready to do business with you quite yet. I may never. It might not be the right fit. But a sales funnel needs to progressively build that trust, and you have a series of touch points. Your whole business name is called 10 Touch, and that has that feel of you need to build that relationship through touch points. And the same with nurturing emails. Nurturing emails just helps them along. It's not only staying on top of mind. You hear that? That's a buzzword. Stay on top of mind. It is all to build trust, to help them solve a problem, to win the day in that particular moment. And when they need you, you're going to be there, right? And that helps build trust. Reviews build trust. Amazon reviews on products. If you have high reviews, then that builds the trust. Like, okay, I'm going to spend the money on this gadget and trust that it's going to work for me and fill that need.
Reviews are just like the ripple effect and telling other people, right? Reviews are a digital way of saying, hey, this worked. This kind of leads to something else we're going to talk about. There are companies that help you gather those reviews. So having the right tools and the right support system.
Right. And it's consistency. I think that's the big thing. And we talk about that all the time, but consistency so that the prospect can trust that you're there. I don't know how many folks that I have come encountered with, and I don't even know if they're still doing what I met them for, in a networking thing, because I never ever hear from them, or I don't see them consistently. Their website hasn't been touched in 2 years, or there's nothing on social. So showing up is a very passive way of saying, hey, you can depend on me because I'm out here. I'm doing the thing. Let's pop in and touch real quick, because this dovetails exactly on what are common mistakes for that we kind of falter on trust. And I think that the 3 are missed appointments, because you said, hey, show up on appointments. So if you do have appointments, somebody really wants to learn more about your business and they did your Calendly link, and show up on time. And I've already talked about not showing up consistently to provide value, that authority piece, or in social media, just not being there. People forget. And then under communicating. I know that when we work together on one of our mutual clients, there's always this, at least with my clients, there's always this fear of, I'm talking to people too much. I'm sending too many emails. Can you speak upon that? Because we really anchored that thing. We pulled up the anchor on email communication and social communication for that particular client, because it was this fear that we're talking to too much.
And it paid us back tenfold, because it became what we did with that client, what we've seen in just a short while, both with prospects and members, that the engagement went through the roof. We're getting, from just the newsletter plan, we're getting people to sign up for that member in the prospect e-news that we share. one of the fears with saying a lot is we see the whole plan, right? We know we've already sent that message. We've already made that social post. But if you don't repeat the message, one, you have to remember, put yourself in your customer's shoes and how many times they get emails that day, they might delete it. That day, they might just file it and put it somewhere. They don't read it that day. They might not read it till they see it for the third time. Social posts, how many do you see a day? So it's okay to reuse, repurpose. In fact, in my philosophy, you should be repeating messages, even tweaking the how you say it, which we do really well with that member, with that client, to see how to catch their attention. On websites, don't be afraid to have it in several places, whatever your call to action is, whatever it is that you're trying to share, because you never know their ClickPick, right? You don't know when, you can't just have it in one place and hope they get there. So you have to, it's the same with social, it's the same with newsletters, it's the same with your authority piece. Do not hold back from communicating. Yes, there's over communicating, and that's where we come in to guide you. Are you a daily message kind of person on social? Most likely not. There's very few, or are you, what's your frequency? But under communicate, I'd rather see a client over communicate than under communicate. I'd rather see us talk to a prospect over than under. And one thing, Gayla, all the things that you just touched on for common mistakes go the same way back to that reverse engineering towards finding your prospects. If they miss appointments, if they aren't showing up consistently, if they are under communicating with you as you're trying to build this trust and trying to figure out are they the right, those are some red flags to say they're probably not your people. That this whole trust is always a two-way street. It's not just us trying to make sure we please the prospect. The prospect has to give back to us what we're looking to give to them.
Very, very good point. All throughout our trust building series, it's a reciprocal thing and it's a relationship. And if someone unsubscribes or doesn't open that email, it does not mean that, so many people fear, I'm not going to send this message because what if they unsubscribe? Well, that's a good thing because they're self-qualifying that maybe it's not a good fit. You can't serve this need that I have. I don't believe you can right now. And that is okay because we cannot please everyone. Just reciprocal of when you meet a client and there are certain red flags that come that it's like, wait a second, they're not exhibiting the behavior of my ideal client or my hero, right? That I can guide them to success. So we are not all meant to fit together. It doesn't mean that if I don't feel like I want to work with someone and I still follow them or I still know them in my circles, does not mean I won't refer them out. Does not mean that I don't admire them. It just means that I'm not sure where they fit in my journey. And it may be okay that we fit in somebody's journey at a distance and not, being a small business, it's hard for me to imagine to serve everybody. But I think we covered this really, really well, Fran. What do you think?
I do too. And I just want to leave our listeners with one last thought before we wrap up. This whole conversation, this whole journey on the 4 different ways to build trust. This morning when I was getting ready to do this, I thought of Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The 4 Agreements. And the first one is be impeccable with your word. And that is through all of these, with yourself, with your team, with your clients, and with your prospects. What he talks about how being impeccable with your word is the first agreement you should make with yourself and the world that you connect with. It really, really resonated with me. And I just want to, if you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. I love all that he has written. But the first line of it, when he talks about being impeccable, speak with integrity and say only what you mean. Avoid using words to speak against yourself and use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. And truth and love is not woo-woo love. It's a positive energy love. It's,
gratitude, acceptance.
Yes, gratitude, acceptance. It's understanding. It's conversation, not conflict. So just wanted to say, and that ties back to our belief that it's all about keeping promises. So really enjoyed this journey on this one.
I did too. And we are all human. Businesses, and the B2B, business to business type thing, it's human to human that we're dealing with, and we're all human. So sometimes we might fall short. And being genuine to each other, that also builds trust. Because if we fall short sometimes, how can we just build it up and be better? Learn from our mistakes, or learn from things, because things do happen. So being genuine in that is a very important factor. But I'd love to hear from you. Why don't you hop over to Facebook and drop your comments in the Live Full Work Fun Facebook group, and let's keep the conversation going. What are other ways that you have built trust with followers? What do you struggle with building followers? Are there some automated ways that you can help with that to help build that trust? So, well, I am so glad that you were here this week and the last 3 weeks to go through our Trust Builder series. Until next time, have a fantastic week. Live full, work fun.
This episode has been brought to you by Scrivener Social, the easy-to-use social scheduling platform built for the busy solopreneur. You deserve a system that makes posting to your social media faster and more efficient. Go to scrivenersocial.com and subscribe today.